To help support our Hashimoto symptoms, we have to be consistent with our nutrition throughout the day. And one area that I see a lot of people battling is their breakfast. And if we're not on point with our morning routine, we're going to struggle to see progress. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about where people go wrong, why certain healthy foods can still be problematic for people with Hashimoto's, and how we can take a more well-rounded approach to our breakfast. And if you find this information useful and valuable, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also ring the bell. I post videos every single Thursday, and that'll make sure you're notified when a new video goes live. My name is Dr. Bodle, and I specialize in helping women with Hashimoto's and low thyroid to lose weight and improve their energy naturally. But before we jump into the foods that people are eating, which can be problematic for them, let's talk about the mistakes that some people make when they don't eat, or issues with fasting. Well, I think that fasting can be a great strategy for people with Hashimoto's and other autoimmune conditions when done appropriately. A lot of people are doing it for the wrong reasons. So if you're someone who has a stressful lifestyle, or if you're having a difficult time getting restful sleep, many times you'll wake up in the morning and either not feel hungry or feel a little nauseous. For these people, they will tend to then prolong their nighttime fast, and it's because they don't feel well enough to actually eat. You can think of being in this chronically stressed state similar to how your body responds to exercise. There's going to be an increase in stress hormone, there's going to be an increase in adrenaline, and this is going to move blood to your large muscles so they can move around and be active. But it's going to move blood away from things like your digestive tract, and that will make it very difficult for you to actually digest food. This results in people feeling like they don't want to eat because it would make them feel uncomfortable. If we choose to go without eating, this can prolong that stressful environment, and over time our body still intuitively knows that it needs to get fuel in it. And so what it will do is it will start to drive cravings for something that can help to normalize that fuel levels in a very quick fashion. And this is the first area that people really start making mistakes when it comes to their breakfast. Instead of choosing a food that will sustain them throughout the day and provide them adequate energy, they're looking for something that provides them that quick fix. Things like bagels, toast, cereal, and muffins. Now, it's true that these things might give you a boost of energy in the short term, and you might be thinking that, hey, that's something that's easy on my stomach and I can handle it. But in reality, these things will not nourish you, and you're going to find out that in just a few hours, you're going to be ravenous again, you're going to be having issues with your energy, and you might be developing cognitive problems like foggy brain or memory struggles. The key point here is that we shouldn't be relying on these highly processed grains to get us that sugar fix in the morning. Breakfast should look like all of our other meals. It shouldn't look like dessert in disguise. So make sure you're choosing foods that reflect that. So if we've made the conscious decision to avoid some of those processed foods for breakfast, which is great by the way, how can we run into problems with some of the healthy choices that are also out there? Most of the time when we think healthy, we think fruits and vegetables. And while I'm not saying that these are necessarily unhealthy, they can be problematic in the way we approach them, especially when we have Hashimoto's, which can change the way we process these types of simple carbohydrates. It's very common for me to talk to someone who wants to get healthier, and in an effort to do so, they choose things like doing juicing or making smoothies. While these can be an option, in the context of Hashimoto's and the associated inflammatory response that goes along with it, it can be difficult for our bodies to process the liquid calories and the amount of glucose that it delivers to the body at one time. Even if we have these fruits and vegetables in their whole food form, which is less problematic for us, these foods are very voluminous with very little calories. So people will often make the switch to choosing these more whole food options, but they still find themselves very, very hungry throughout the day because even though they feel full for a period of time, it doesn't translate into long-term energy. This can put us into a vicious cycle where we're trying to put in a ton of effort into our nutrition, but it's almost impossible for us to sustain. The reason for this is we're not getting the right kind of nutrient and caloric density that allows us to be sustained throughout the day. And the increase in cravings is a response to this. This is why it's so hard for people to maintain this long term, and we find ourselves slipping in and out of good dietary habits. But does any of this sound familiar to you? Let me know in the comments below what you like to start your day off with and what has helped to serve your body the best. So for avoiding the processed carbohydrates and limiting the sugary fruit juices and smoothies, what should we be eating? And it's very simple, and I always like to lay it out like this. It goes in the order of protein, fat, fiber, carb. Now I know the second that I say protein in the morning, for those of you who don't feel like eating in the morning or feel a little nauseous when you wake up, you're already pushing away from this advice. And in those situations, I get where you're coming from, but we need to do some work on some of the underlying factors that could be leading to that. I have a couple different videos on this topic, whether it's supporting your gut or working on your sleep, and I'll make sure to link one up above here and the rest of them in the description box below. That way you have access to all that information. But without getting too far out into the weeds, my simple advice would be this. Just like with exercise, start small and go from there. If we haven't been eating at all in the morning, we need to start small and go from there. So for you, that might just look like a couple of bites of protein, and that over time will help to get your digestive tract used to having some of that protein and fuel in the morning. But whether it's a small amount or a large amount, depending on your demand, protein needs to be first. So pick your favorite, whether it's chicken, pulled pork, steak, salmon, whatever it might be, choose something you like and include it with your breakfast. Protein is highly satiating and will help you to feel full for longer. It has minimal impact in terms of food reactivity, and it can also help us to sustain good energy levels throughout the day. From there, we're going to want to make sure that you're getting a healthy amount of fat. And this may already be included in a fattier cut of meat, but if not, we'll need to add it in. Great options are things like olives and olive oil, coconut and coconut oil, avocados and avocado oil, ghee, tallow, lard, and suet. All can be used to cook your food in, or it can be added to the food once it has been finished being prepared. Next is fiber, and some people will do better with a higher fiber diet, and others will do better with a lower fiber diet. And the reason I make note of that is because oftentimes we're always taught that fiber is sort of a universal good, and that's not always the case. So if you really struggle with some food sensitivities and digestive tract symptoms, you might not want to continually increase your fiber thinking that that is going to resolve all of your problems. Once you know your tolerance level, add in as needed. And I think that this is a great time to choose foods that are lower in terms of net carbohydrates. So some examples would be things like asparagus, broccoli, cauliflower, bell peppers, and leafy green vegetables. Finally is carbohydrates, and I think that this is an area that we really need to be careful because, as we've said throughout this video, people can tend to overdo it and not even be aware that that's happening. My suggestion would be to get your carbs from a whole food form from things like squash, sweet potatoes, or low glycemic fruits like berries. If you're planning on exercising or being more active, you may need to increase your carbohydrate, and if you're planning on being more sedentary, then you may want to dial it back. So to wrap it all up, and as we said before, breakfast should look like every other meal, and it shouldn't be dessert in disguise. So skip the refined and processed carbohydrates, the things that have been traditionally promoted as breakfast foods, and instead are just another way for us to get our sugar fix in the morning. Also, don't let our sole source of calories come from juicing, smoothies, or whole fruits and vegetables. These do not pack the nutritional punch that we need to get us throughout the day, and we'll find ourselves very hungry within a few hours. Lastly, make sure we're including protein, fat, fiber, and carbohydrates as necessary. That way we can have a well-rounded approach to our breakfast that will sustain us long term. If you like this video but want to learn more about what you should eat with Hashimoto's, click on the link in the description box below, which will take you to my free download, which is 109 foods to boost your thyroid and improve your energy. It's a comprehensive list that I recommend to my patients every single day and can get you on the right track to getting your health back. Additionally, if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, you can always send me an email at contact@seattlethyroidhelp.com and I can help you to get set up with a free consultation. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much as always for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys being here, and I hope that you're continuing to find these videos valuable. If you haven't done so, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and besides that, I hope you have an awesome week. My name is Dr. Brad Bodle. I'll see you guys next Thursday, and until then, take care.